Name the fraction at point A. Cubes, 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 cubes. There are no numbers aside from the numbers on my number line. Name the fraction at point A is basically my question, which leaves me with my keyword fraction. So again, I know that I'm going to need a numerator and a denominator. However, on this problem, I also see that I have whole numbers on my number line. So I'm going to treat this number line like it is a ruler. And I'm going to use what I know about measurement. I know that every ruler or number line starts with a 0. I know that when I'm measuring, and I see and I can look from the 0 to 1. Of course, what do I do first? Well, I count the spaces. Right here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So I know that the 4 goes in the denominator because there are 4 equal parts from the 0 to the 1 whole. So I know that this would be 0/4, which makes this 1/4, which makes this 2/4, which makes this 3/4, and I know that 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. So I know that's correct. If I was really thinking about a ruler though, I know that I don't usually count this as 2/4. However, I know that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So I know that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. So if I could sing my song, it'd look like this. 0, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 inch. If I repeat my song, it looks like this. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 inch. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 inch. Now this all could have changed had there been more spaces between the 0 and the 1. Then the number on the bottom or the denominator would have changed. But because there are 4 equal parts between the numbers 0 and 1, I know that I'm just going to repeat the pattern because there are 4 equal spaces between each of the whole numbers. So now, what do I look at first? The inches or the fractions? The inches. So I'm going to ask myself, does point A pass the 0? Well, yes, it's way over there. Does point A pass the 1? Well, yeah, it's over here. Does point A pass the 2? Well, no, it doesn't pass the 2 yet. So I'm going to go back to the whole number of 1, and I'm going to write 1. Now, after I've written my inch, I want to write my fraction. Is my point on 1/4? No. Is my point on 1/2? No. Is my point on 3/4? Exactly. So I'm going to come down here and write 3/4. My answer would be 1 3/4. On a Chromebook, it might look something like this. 1 and then a space, a 3/4. 1 3/4 would be my answer. I wanted to give you a different look at the same kind of problem. So here again it says, what fraction lies on point B? I see point B right here. Again, I see the keyword fraction, which means I need a number in the numerator and a number in the denominator no matter what. So again, I have myself a number line. And again, I want to start at the 0 because number lines always start with 0 or even rulers. And I know that I'm going to count the spaces between the 0 and the 1. I don't want to go past the 1. I want to count them from 0 to 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces between the 0 and the 1. So I know that 6 goes in my denominator. So this would be 0, 6. I know that this line would be 1, 6, and this line 2, 6, and this line 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and right here 6, 6. And I know that when the number on the top and the number on the bottom are the same, it's going to equal 1 whole, which we have right here. So I know that there are 6 equal spots between the 0 and the 1, so I'm going to assume that there are the same amount of spaces between the 1 and the 2. I could count again by going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, I have 6 equal spots, which would make this 0 out of 6 again. And this one would be 1, 6. This would be 2, 6. This would be 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and 6, 6, which would again equal that 1 whole space. So if I was going to write my fraction, I would write it like this. I would have check my inches before my fractions. I know that B is past the 0. I know that B is past the 1, but B is not past the 2, so I'm going to go back to the 1 and I'm going to write 1 inch or 1 whole. then I'm going to name my fraction. I know that b lies right there on 2/6 is my fraction, so my answer would be 1 and 2/6. On a Chromebook, it looked like this, 1, 2/6.